I see. And like my house, I'm sure Tosaka's house is well fortified against enemies. A mage's home is like a fortress. There's not much chance of defeating them there. Which means enemies tend not to try attacking them at home. The bounded field around our house just notifies us of intruders, but even having that makes a big difference. By the way, Tosaka, the priest mentioned he was the overseer of the Holy Grail War. Does that mean he knows who your servant is?
知らないはずよ。私教えてないもの。
And I'm gonna keep it that way, bitch! I see, you guys seem to get along, so I thought you had. You thought that was getting along?
あのね、ミヤ君。忠告しておくけど、自分のサーバントの正体は誰にも教えちゃダメよ。たとえ信用できる相手でも黙っておきなさい。そうでないと、早々に消えることになるから。
Huh? What do you mean? Saber's identity?
だから、サーバントがどこの英雄かっていうことよ。いくら強いからって、戦力を明かしてちゃ、いつか寝首をかかれるに決まってるでしょ。いいから、後でセーバーから新名を教えてもらいなさい。そうすれば私の言ってることがわかる。けどちょっとタンマ、エミヤ君はあれだからいっそ教えてもらわない方がいいわね。
Just come out and say it. Just say because you're probably you're an idiot. He'll probably start running his mouth as soon as he knows. Why not?
エミヤ君隠し事できないもの。なら知らない方が秘密にできるじゃない？
I was joking! Who do you think I am? I can at least follow a strategy like that.
そう？じゃあ、私に隠していることとかある？
Something I'm hiding from you? Well, I feel a hot blush in my cheek as she looks at me. I shouldn't feel guilty, but I wonder if secretly idolizing her even counts in this context.
ほら見なさい。何を隠しているか知らないけど、動揺が顔に出るようじゃ向いてないわ。あなたは他にいいところがあるんだから、駆け引きなんて考えるのはやめなさい。
She's saying shut up and let your servant do all the fighting. Uh-huh. Then what about you? If you're mum about your servant and even to that priest, does that mean you don't trust him?
キレ？まさか。私、あいつを信用するほどおめでたくないわ。あいつはね、教会から魔術協会にくら替えしたくせに、まだ教会に在籍している食わせ者なのよ。人の情報を他のマスターに売るぐらいはやりかねないわ。
Yeah. Tosaka huffs, obviously annoyed. I guess Tosaka really doesn't trust that priest. I'm a little relieved, but at the same time, her tone of voice is also conveying a sort of closeness with the priest. We cross the bridge. There's nothing else to talk about. A frosty white breath hangs in the winter air. The faint sound of flowing water bubbles up from beneath the bridge, where we walk in the streetlight its illumination. All of these small details etch themselves onto our memory. Oddly, I don't think to look at Tosaka's face. It feels like more of a rarity to be walking beside her like this than it does to see her face. Me, Tosaka, and the girl called Saber, about whom I know nothing. The three of us, not doing anything in particular, walk back to our homes. We reach the intersection. It is there that we have to separate, as our homes are in opposite directions.
ここでお別れね。義理は果たしたし、これ以上一緒にいると何かと面倒でしょ。きっぱり別れて、明日からは敵同士にならないと。
Mm-hmm. I think she's trying to bring closure to our ambiguous relationship. Tosaka starts talking, but suddenly cuts off. Then I realize something. She didn't explain the rules to me out of obligation. Was she trying to help me as I knew absolutely nothing to make things fair for me? And that's why, the moment things are being explained, everything goes back to normal. All that's left is for us to fight each other as masters. But that would make her last words to me strange. Tosaka must have meant it would be a hard fight if she feels empathy for me. For Tosaka, everything that happened tonight was unnecessary. Things would be complicated if we stuck together any longer. If that's how she feels, she shouldn't have gotten involved with me to begin with. She's smart enough to know that. But she helped me even knowing it wouldn't benefit her in any way. That's how I feel. That's how I know she had no ulterior motive for doing what she did tonight. She did it purely out of the kindness of her heart. Tosaka is totally different now than she usually is at school. She's harsh and unfriendly at school, and that's putting it mildly. But seeing her right now, I want to ask her why the hell she acts the way she does at school. Honestly, the difference is on the level of fraud. But either way, Rin Tosaka is also exactly what everyone thinks she is. You know, you're a good person, Tosaka.
Huh? 何よ突然。おだてたって手は抜かないわよ。
I know that. She had to tell me it would be a pain to be empathetic because she isn't going to go easy on me. I know, but I would rather not be enemies with you because I like people like you. I heard Tosaka's house is in the residential district with all the western houses, in the opposite direction of my house. She took care of me up to now, so I'd like to walk her home.
とにかくサーバントがやられたら迷わずさっきの教会に逃げ込みなさいよ。そうすれば命だけは助かるんだから。
I'm not sure about that, but I'll still take your advice. Anyway, I don't think that will happen, since I'm likely to die before Saber. I've calmly assessed the situation. Tosaka's reaction is once again puzzling. After that weary sigh, she glances at Saber.
いいわ。これ以上の忠告は本当に感情移入になっちゃうから言わない。せいぜい気をつけなさい。いくらセイバーが優れているからってマスターであるあなたがやられちゃったらそれまでなんだから。
She turns around and starts walking. And yet, she stops dead in her tracks as if she's seen a ghost. Tosaka? The moment I call out to her, a stinging pain shoots through my left hand.
お話は終わり？
Hi! A young voice echoes in the night. The sing-song tone comes unmistakably from a young girl. My eyes are drawn to the top of the hill. I hadn't noticed the choices. I haven't noticed the clouds parting. Now the brilliant moon illuminates the sky, and there. Hi! A shadow looms. It's a strange shape that seems out of place in the darkened town.
まさか。
I'm not familiar with the word Tosaka whispers. I don't even need to ask. It's definitely a servant. It gives off an overwhelming aura of death that surpasses even the fire from 10 years ago. The girl smiles. Her innocence sends a chill up my spine. No, the chill goes deeper than that. It's not just my body, even my mind freezes. That thing is a monster. I'm not even looking into its eyes, but its intimidating presence paralyzes me. My instinct tells me I'm dead the instant I move. It feels like someone is pressing a knife against my exposed stomach. Yeah, no shit he is. While all I manage to do is stand here paralyzed, Tosaka is composed enough to brace herself. Even that seems futile. I can only see her back, but I still sense her despair. The young girl seems displeased that as she stands at the top of the hill looking down on us. This is even worse. That girl knows that Tosaka's servant is not here. And then the girl bows gracefully, which seems wildly out of place given the mood. Tosaka trembles lightly, seeming to recognize the name. The girl smiles, seemingly delighted by Tosaka's reaction. In a sing-song voice, the girl orders the monstrosity beside her. Oh shit! The giant jumps. In a single leap, this berserker sails all the way from the top of the hill to its bottom, where we stand. Saber surges forward. Her raincoat flutters off her shoulders, blocking my view for a moment. I love how this game does battles. Saber runs towards the berserker, where berserker is about to land. Berserker lands, kicking up a small torrent of air in its wake. The two meet almost simultaneously. The very air shakes. Saber stalks berserker's rock-like sword with her invisible sword. Saber's mouth twists as she strains. Then Berserker's giant sword moves in a flash, creating a whirlwind. Thunder. The clash of swords, almost tearing through the air, ends in Saber's defeat. I hear something skidding. Saber blocks Berserker's giant sword with her own, but the impact pushes her backwards. Saber buckles. The copper-skinned servant follows her. The monster swings its giant sword again and again, as if it knows how to do nothing else. Saber continues to block it with her sword, unable to dodge the strikes. Saber's sword being invisible doesn't matter. She needs to put all her strength into blocking his attacks, or she's dead for sure. Saber's left with no choice but to remain on the defensive. The only chance Saber has of winning is to find an opportunity to strike between Berserker's attacks. And yet, that's only if Berserker leaves her an opening. His massive black rock sword moves like a raging storm. He is enormous. Despite his size as an unwieldy weapon, Berserker is faster than Saber. His unrelenting attack just smash whatever there is in the way, that's all. But it's enough to be effective. As long as he retains his overwhelming speed and power, he doesn't really need technique. Humans devise technique to compensate for their own weakness. That giant, that monster, he has no weakness. Run. It's the only thing I can manage to say. My body is completely frozen. That thing cannot be beaten. Saber is going to die. That's why she needs to run. It'd be easy if it was just her that needed to flee. Of course, she knows that perfectly well. Oh, that's not good. My body may be paralyzed, but my mind is still working. The raging storm of death simply won't let up. Saber retreats, unable to block it at all. And then the final unblockable blow comes. Saber hangs in the air. Twisting her body impossibly, Saber manages to defend against Berserker's titanic swing. It's all she can do to defend herself from the fatal blow. But because she can't completely brace against the giant's tremendous swing, his attack sends her flying. After sailing in a wide arc, she falls to the ground. Just before her back hits the ground, Saber turns in mid-air and lands on her feet. She managed to compose herself. The crimson blood stains her chest. I'm such an idiot. I've completely forgotten something crucial. I don't know how many times servants can fight in a day, but this is Saber's third battle. On top of that, Saber still hasn't healed from the wound Lancer inflicted on her chest earlier. Saber shifts her guard and protects her chest. Berserker moves in like a violent wind, striking at Saber while she's hampered by her wound. His blows rain down on her back. I don't know what kind of magecraft Tosaka used, but something bursts against Berserker's body. From the amount of magical energy I can feel, the impact must have been equivalent to a large caliber pistol. Even that is meaningless. It barely even scratches him. He isn't nullifying magical energy like what Saber does. The attack just doesn't affect him. Despite that, Tosaka continues to cast her spell. Berserker just ignores Tosaka's spell and charges at Saber. Saber painfully lifts her head. She readies her sword, intent on continuing the fight. The sight of her in so much pain gets me moving again. No, run, Saber! I yell with all my might. She hears me. But she braces herself to confront the enemy she can't possibly compete with. Berserker's attacks are relentless. Saber weakens with every block, and the end slowly creeps up on her. Where in that small frame of hers does such power come from? Saber doesn't retreat. She endures the great sword's furious attacks and tries to push Berserker back with sheer vigor. She has no chance of winning. Even though she knows her demise is inevitable, she holds her ground amicably. Maybe it sensed something from her. And thus begins the tradition. The monster, silent until now, suddenly roars. Its attacks are impossible to block. Its attacks rain down on her, though her defense is flawless. But one strike finally sends her flying. Slam. It's the sound of something falling in the distance. Fresh blood stains her armor. Her small frame shouldn't be able to rise, and yet... No. Also, I love that effect. Like, kudos to the artists that drew this. Like, it could not have been easy to account for an invisible sword. She stands up without thinking. Her actions say she needs to keep going, or else I'll be killed. Her actions. I realize I made a foolish decision. Berserker stops after defeating Saber. It doesn't so much as look at Tosaka or me. It just waits for its master's orders.
勝てるわけないじゃない。私のバーサーカーはね、ギリシャ最大の英雄なんだから。ギリシャ最大の英雄ってまさか。そうよ。そこにいるのはヘラクレスっていう魔物。
Yep.
あなたたち程度が刺激できる英雄とは格が違う。最強の怪物なんだから。
The girl calling herself Elia narrows her eyes in joy. Her eyes express elation and at the anticipation of finishing off her enemies. There is no need to ask who she is expecting to kill. Saber. Then what will I do? Am I going to fight that monster instead? I can't do that. Just getting near that thing without being prepared would be enough to stop my heart. I'm going to I think this is another whoop, wrong thing. Yeah, this is another one I have to save in a separate slot. Because this game does have bad ends. I'm going to get those off stream. I'm going to help Saber, even though it's the dumbest thing I can do. I refuse to abandon someone when they're down. That's how I've always lived my life. And most importantly, I can't leave the girl who fought so hard to protect me.
いいわよ、バーサーカー。そいつ再生するから、一撃で仕留めなさい。
Berserker rumbles back into movement. Why you? I run forward as fast as I can. I can't possibly do anything against that monster. But the least I can do is get Saber out of the way and save her from Berserker's attack. Well, shit. Eh? I fall. Why? I was going to shove Saber away from Berserker. Then And then I figure out what to do afterwards. So why? Why? Why am I on the ground, unable to breathe? Okay, I'm being called. I'm being called for supper, so I'm going to save here and take a food break. Give me a sec, guys. I'm back, and it looks like I was gone for 20-something minutes. I really need to start timing. Anyway, back to dying. I hear surprised voices. First is Saber, who is in front of me now. Then there's Tosaka, standing at the distance, looking aghast. And then, for some reason, the girl calling herself Elia stares down at me, dumbfounded. Huh? There's a gaping, ragged hole in the middle of my body. I'm on the ground. On the asphalt. Ah, crap. You didn't miss much. On the ground, on the asphalt, there's only blood, considering how... There's only a little blood considering how big the wound is. I see some withered branch-looking things and some tattered stuff. And man, it looks painful. All those parts scattered around. I get it. How dumb am I? So I didn't make it. I could never have pushed Saber away, so I was just her shield. And then that ungodly huge machete thing took a good chunk out of my stomach. I can't believe I failed at a time like this. I tried my best to be a hero of justice, but I screwed it up when it really mattered. The silvered-haired girl's face is blank as she speaks. After standing there dumbfounded, she just says, she calls Berserker back without finishing Saber off. The girl leaves. After she disappears, I completely black out. I lose consciousness. I'm really dead this time. I somehow survived when Lancer killed me last time, but my luck's definitely run out. There's no magecraft that could save a person who just lost half his body. I hear a voice reprimanding me. It must be Tosaka. She sounds like she's really mad, and I feel bad. But I had no choice. I'm not good at everything like her. All I have to work with is my body. That's why the only thing I could do was to risk it all using my own body. Fate. Partner. Winter, 5 years ago. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful moonlit lit night. I was just enjoying the sight with my father, Kiritsugu Emiya. It was winter, but it wasn't very cold. On the veranda, it was just a little chilly. the perfect weather to watch the moon. Kuretsugu didn't go outside much anymore. He rarely went out, and he spent most of his time lounging around the house. Every time I recall this, I still feel regret. Why didn't I realize that he was acting that way, the way any creature does when they know their time is almost up? He blurted it out, just out of nowhere. My father, who already seemed like a champion of justice in my eyes, said that as if he were reflecting on a memory. What, you wanted to, so you gave up on it? I asked, unable to completely hide my disappointment. Kuretsugu smiled apologetically and looked up at the distant moon. That made sense to me. I wasn't sure why, but if Kuretsugu said it, then it had to be true. Oh well, that's too bad. Kuretsugu nodded in agreement. So I just kind of blurted something out, as if it were a natural thing to say. Okay, if you can't do it, then I'll do it for you. You can't do anything because you're an adult, but I can. You can leave your dream to me, because I'll make it a reality. The bold promise made my father smile. His face said everything I needed to know. Kuretsugu made a long, contented sigh and whispered, There, he closed his eyes, and so too his life came to a close. He looked so peaceful, like he was just going to wake up in the morning, so I didn't think much about it. Maybe it was because by then I was used to seeing death. On a winter night, a man I called my father looked up at the moon and entered a long sleep. The yard was dead silent, not so much as a single chirp from an insect. I still remember how fiercely my eyes blazed on that bright, clear night. I didn't cry out, nor did I feel sad. My tears flowed down my cheek until the moon sank past the horizon. This happened in the winter 5 years ago. I probably cried 10 years worth of tears in that time, so after that there was nothing left. Fujini's dad took care of the funeral arrangements, and that's how I ended up living in the imagined and all alone. Kuretsugu's passing didn't change anything for me. I was set on becoming a man who champions justice and does what's right. Just like my father, I didn't have time to sit around. That's right. I never talk about this, but I still remember it. 10 years ago, a man saved me from a fire. He picked up a burned, crying child and carried him out of hell, weeping with joy. I've admired him ever since. Nobody saved me. I couldn't save anyone. In the ruins of the fire, there was only a boy who was saved, and the man who saved him. That's why I aspired to be like him. I wanted to become a hero of justice that saves people and doesn't let anyone die. That's who he wanted. That's who he wanted to be, and he passed his wish on to me before quietly letting the curtain fall. It's only natural for a child to follow. It's only natural for a child to follow in their father's footsteps. Amiya Shiro must become a hero of justice and save someone in the same way that he was once saved. I swore to myself I would do it. I vowed to fulfill the dream of the man that I most admired. but honestly, I didn't know how. What did Kuretsugu mean by doing the right thing and championing justice? How can I grow up faster? Is there some magical way to make Kuretsugu's dream of making everyone happy come true? Seriously, what am I supposed to do when I become a master and I can't get the blonde girl with me out of my head? That's called hormones. I wake up in my room. Something tastes terrible. The steel tang of blood clouds my mouth. It pulled in my mouth while I slept, and every time I breathed, heavy metallic air filled my lungs. I'm not sure why I feel this way. A violent surge of vomit makes me want to go wash my face in the restroom. A violent urge to vomit. Okay, I lift myself out of bed. Dizziness sets my head spinning. Feeling uneasy about my uneasy on my feet, I plant a hand on the wall. I try to move, but it only makes the nausea worse. No, it's more pain than nausea. My body feels sluggish, and my insides seem to churn whenever I move. Now, I imagine this is about what it'd feel like if someone forced taut lead down my throat. Imagining that is making me feel like I'm going to run in a fever. I wipe the sweat from my forehead and hobble out of my room, leaning against the wall. Okay, I feel a little better. I wash my face and dry off my sweat-drenched body. Huh? For some reason, my abdomen is wrapped in bandages. I have no idea why, but I'll deal with it later. I'm hungry. Did I leave any extra food in the fridge? My stomach still feels like it's churning, but my body needs nourishment. I suck up the discomfort and keep walking, bracing against the wall. The dizziness won't go away, and worst of all, my whole body feels dull. Ow, 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 ow! I keep moving forward, making pathetic noises along the way. Yep. What the hell did I do before I went to bed last night? I can't remember training strenuously enough to make my entire body ache. I reach the living room. Sakura and Fujini must be at school. There's no sign of breakfast, nor do I see the remnants of Fujini wrecking the place. The living room's quiet, like a typical Sunday.
Ohayo. 勝手に上がらせてもらってるわ、エミヤ君。
Oh, hi, Tosaka. Wait a minute. Or not. What? Eh? Rin Tosaka is sitting on the floor by the table in the living room. She's so calm, like she owns the place. So much that I feel like the guest here. I have no idea what to say, so I plop down on a cushion. And then I take a deep breath. Tosaka, why are you...
待った。その前に謝ってくれない？昨夜の一件についての謝罪を聞かないと落ち着けないわ。
I can't even finish asking why she's in my house. Tosaka's glare is all I need to know how angry she is. She seems upset about something that happened last night, but what exactly? Wait. Oh yeah, I fucking died again. I remember now. Right, this isn't the time for me to be leisurely breathing in the morning air. I tried to help Saber, and Berserker guttered me like a fish. Ugh. The nausea returns. A chill grips my entire body as I remember the feeling of having a gaping hole in my body. Wait, that's weird. I should have died instantly. That's weird. Why am I still here?
思い出した？ 昨夜自分がどんなバカをしでかしたかってなら少しは反省しなさい。
I mean, it was pretty stupid, let's not lie. Tosaka huffs critically. That kind of ticks me off. My brain frozen seeing Tosaka in my living room. Seeing Tosaka in my living room finally grinds to action. What are you talking about? I had no choice. Well, sure, it might seem like an idiotic move if you just look at the results, and I definitely meant for it to go better than it did. So I wouldn't say it was a mistake. I return her glare, insisting that I'm not an idiot. What? Why is she making such a show of sighing at me?
マスターが死んだらサーバントは消えるって言ったでしょ。だって言うのにサーバントをかばうなんてどうかしてるわ。いい？あなたが死んでしまえばセイバーだって消えてしまう。セイバーを救いたかったのならもっと安全な場所からできる手段を考えなさい。まったく身を挺してサーバントを守るなんて行為は無駄以外の何者でもないって分かってるの？
I wasn't shielding her, I was trying to get her out of there. I didn't think that would happen to me. I knew I might die if I go near a monster like that, but that's beside the point.
そう、勘違いしてるみたいね、あなた。
Yeah, Heracles is pretty fucking fast for his size. Seriously, how fast the guy moves is actually quite terrifying. Tosaka only looks more irritated, like she knows exactly what I'm thinking.
あのね、ミヤ君、きっちりと言っておくけど、教会まで連れて行ったのはあなたに勝たせるためじゃないわ。あれはね、何も知らないあなたが一人でも生き残れるようにって考えた結果なの。どうもそのあたりは分かってなかったみたいね。
A chance to survive?
そうよ。負けることがそのまま死につながるって知れば、そう簡単に博打は打たなくなる。エミヤ君、こういう状況でも一人で夜出歩きそうだから。脅しをかけておけば家中の栗を拾うこともなし、うまくいけば最後までやり過ごせるかもって思ったの。
Honey, this is the Fate universe. You can't even scare yourself straight. But I see. That didn't cross my mind. But why are you upset? Why does me dying? What does me dying have to do with you?
関係あるわよ。この私を一晩も心配させたんだから。
Tosaka is practically throwing a tantrum. But okay. It actually feels good to have someone worry about me. From her tone, it sounds like Tosaka was the one who took care of me. Is that so? I guess I owe you one, Tosaka. Thanks. I bow my head in appreciation and apology.
分かればいいのよ。これに懲りたら次はもっと頭のいい行動してよね。
Tosaka quickly turns away. She might still be edgy, but I feel like she's in a better mood.
じゃあこれで昨日のことはおしまいね。本題に入るけど、真面目な話と昨日の話、どっちにする？
Tosaka prompts me matter-of-factly. Her straightforwardness takes me off guard, but but now that I think about it, she must be here only because she had something to discuss. Excuse me. If she hadn't had something to discuss, she'd have gone home already. Tosaka's my enemy, so what could she have to talk about that would prompt her to stay in enemy territory? I'm curious to know what she's thinking, and I also want to know what else happened last night. I have to ask anyway, so... Ooh, we got a 3 choice. Okay, let us consult the flowchart. Wrong window. Okay, let's see. If we ask, we get a point towards Rin. So we're going to do that. Let's talk about yesterday. There's no point in talking until I understand my own situation. I need to understand where I am before I get to where I'm going. That's the basics for a journey. Let's start with what happened last night.
そうね。まずは状況を知るのが先。なんだ、まともに頭が働くじゃない、あなた。
Again, Tosaka, sweetie, this is the Fate universe. No one thinks straight. We all think gay and or bi. With a smug grin, Tosaka launches into a brief explanation of last night's events. Apparently, Berserker left right after I lost consciousness. Afterwards, my body started to heal on its own and went back and was back to normal after a few minutes. I was still unconscious, so Tosaka brought me here, and the rest was as I remember it.
ここで重要なのは、あなたはあなた一人で生き切ったっていう事実よ。確かに私は手助けしたけど、あの傷を完治させたのはあなた自身の力だった。そこ勘違いしないでよね。
That's what it sounds like from the way you told it. So you aren't the one who healed me?
まさか死にかけてる人間を蘇生させるなんてゲットはもう私にはできない。意味やシローは自分でぶっ飛んだ中身をどうにかしたのよ。
I don't really have an answer to that. My stomach is back to normal, yes, but I'm honestly still dubious about what Tosaka said. I can't even use any healing magecraft, much less raise the dead.
そうなると原因はサーバントね。あなたのサーバントはよっぽど強力なのか、それとも召喚の時に何か手違いが生じたのか。まあ両方だと思うけど、何らかのラインがつながったんでしょうね。
Line? You mean some sort of fated line that connects a familiar and its mage?
あら、ちゃんと使い物知識はあるじゃない。なら話は早いわ。要するにエミヤ君とセーバーの関係は普通の主人と使い魔の関係じゃないってこと。
Again, raging hormones! I mean, they're teenagers, guys.
見たところセイバーには自然治癒の力もあるみたいだから、それがあなたに流れてるんじゃないかな。
Which is a thing. Sometimes masters do get perks from their servants.
普通は魔術師の能力が使い魔に付与されるんだけど、あなたの場合は使い魔の特殊能力が主人を助けてるってわけ。
So it's like a river flowing upstream?
うまい例えね。本来ならありえないだろうけど、セイバーの魔力ってのは川の流れを変えるほど膨大なんでしょ。そうでなければ、あの体格でバーサーカーとまともに打ち合うなんて考えられない。
It wouldn't normally be possible. Does that mean in your relationship with Archer is a normal mage and a familiar relationship?
そうよ。人の言うこと全然聞かないやつだけど、一応そういう関係。マスターとサーバントのつながりなんて ガソリンとエンジンみたいなものだもの。こっちが魔力を提供して、あっちがそれを食べるだけ。まあ中には肉体面でもサーバントと共有して疑似的な不死を得たマスターもいたそうよ。サーバントが死なない限り自分も死なないなんていうやつなんだけど。エミヤくん、人の話聞いてる？
Huh? Yeah, I am. Then, Tosaka, does that mean my body will heal from injuries even if I don't do anything about them?
あなたのサーバントの魔力を消費してね。理屈はわからないけど、原因がセイバーの実体化にあることは間違いないわ。あなたが自然治癒の呪いなんて習得しているはずはないから。
Of course not. My old man never taught me something like that complicated.
そうじゃなくて、そうだったら私が悩む必要はなかったっていうことよ。いいわ、あなたには関係のない話だから。
Huh? What does she mean? I wonder why Tosaka is being so roundabout.
まあいいわ。とにかくあまり無茶はしないこと。今回は助かったからいいけど、次にあんな傷を負ったらまず助からないはずだから。多少の傷なら治るなんていう甘い考えは捨てた方がいいでしょうね。
Yeah, like, let's not push our luck. We have no idea why we're healing. We have no idea the limit of it. I know, Saber had to help me because I went and got myself hurt. I don't have any excuses for that.
バカね。そんな理由じゃないわよ。断言してもいいけど、あなたの傷を治すと減るのはセイバーの魔力だけじゃない。あなた、それ絶対なんか使ってるわ。寿命とか性分とか預金残高とか、ともかく何かが減りまくってるに違いないんだから。
What? So it's like Dungeon Meshi? We just have a dude that comes along, takes money from us, and does the reviving. Go watch Dungeon Meshi. It's really good. Tosaka huffs once again, and I agree, but Tosaka, I don't think my bank account has anything to do with it.
関係あるわよ。魔術ってのは金食い虫なんだから。使ってればどんどんお金は減っていくものなの。そうでなければ許さないんだから。特に私が。
That flame noise! Tosaka absolutely explodes with fury. It's odd, really. The more I talk to her, the more this Tosaka feels like the real one, while the girl at school feels like an act. Though I guess I already noticed that yesterday.
まあ、お金の話は置いとくとして。次は真面目な話だけど、いいかしら、エミヤ君。
It's the main reason you're here, isn't it? Let's hear it.
じゃあ率直に聞くけど、エミヤ君、あなたこれからどうするつもり？
Tosaka asked the one question I hoped she wouldn't. Actually, that's not entirely true. It's not that I don't want her to ask so much as I haven't really thought about my answer yet. What am I going to do now? It's the question I want to ask. To be honest, I don't know. I know there's a competition for the Holy Grail, but I've never been in a battle between mages. For one thing, more than anything, I want to avoid any killing. I'm not interested in something like the Holy Grail. I don't really know if I can risk my life for something I don't want.
言うと思った。あなたね、そんなこと言ったらサーバントに殺されるわよ。
What? Kill me? Why?
サーバントの目的も聖杯だから。 彼らは聖杯を手に入れるという条件だからこそマスターの召喚に応じているのよ。サーバントにとって最も重要なのは聖杯なの。彼らは聖杯を手に入れる可能性があるからマスターに従い、時にマスターのために命を落とす。だっていうのに聖杯なんていらないよなんて言ってみなさい。裏切り者と切り殺されても文句は言えないでしょ。
What the hell? That doesn't sound right. Servants are the ones who are summoned by masters, right? Then...
サーバントが無償で人間に従うなんて思ってたの？
Why do you think we have so much money issues?
聖杯は手に入れた者の望みを叶える。それはマスターの守護者であるサーバントも例外じゃない。サーバントたちにもね、それぞれ何らかの欲望があるのよ。だからこそ彼らは本来ありえない召喚に応じている。